Good morning, everyone. Why don't we call it to order? First order of business is approval of the minutes of the prior meeting.
Motion.
Anybody have any motion to approve? May I have a motion? So moved.
That we approve the minutes of our previous ordinance.
And do I have a
Second.
second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Let's move to public comments. Mr. Carlos Calvillo. Mr. Calvillo? Not here yet. Mr. Robert Love. Mr. Love. Okay. Mr. Jose Avila. Mr. Avila.
Avila,
Avila? Is it Avila?
I believe so.
I thought I saw him earlier.
Yes, there he is. Hello.
I knew us.
Good morning, Mr. Avila. You have 3 minutes.
It's probably going to take a little more than 3 minutes.
Let me get you up here a little
What I have to say is that through Metro, I've been able to go have my surgery, and I can see not very excellent, but I can see a lot better than I did before. And I wanted to say thank you to Michael Spears, Michael Andretti, Patty right here, and there's several more that I'd like to say thank you, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to make it to my eye surgery appointment, and they played a big part. And the one that I keep in my prayers all the time is Hilda Montemayor, who's not here. I wish she'd have been here, because it means a lot to me to be able to see. And this room is a lot bigger than I imagined in my head. To see you, open your mouth like that was like really cool. I just want to say thank you for restoring the bus at the lighthouse. It means a lot to me and a bunch of other visually impaired people, because that gives us access to being independent. And I just want to say thank y'all very much for making things possible for me. A lot of things were not as pleasing as I had wished it was, in the changes and everything. I've been through a lot, but y'all made things possible for me being able to get to my surgeries and my dialysis and everything that I do. And I'd like to say thank y'all very much for the things that y'all done for me, and for listening to my suggestions and comments and things, and really moving and changing things to make Houston a better place for everybody. So thank y'all very much.
Mr. Avila, thank you so very much for coming down. And I think I speak for all of us. We couldn't be more excited that your vision is back, and we thank you for coming down. And now that you can see, we want you to come down early and often. But we are just so delighted that God answered your prayers.
Yeah, and like I said, I keep Hilda Montemayor because she was the beginning of opening the doors for many other doors that opened up for me. So I like to keep my prayers in for her because of what she's going through as well.
Well, God is good, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Avila.
And Miss Patty here, she runs a really good garage. The service isn't the same with her over there. So, but yeah, all her drivers really took care of me and watched over me and everything. So I expect that to start happening over there from the Hiram Clark. So she did.
Well, we love it when good things happen to members of the Metro family. So thank you for coming down and letting us know.
Yes.
Thank you. Wow.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a comment. That's what public transportation is all about. It's getting people to jobs. It's getting people to health care. It's getting the people ladders of opportunity to improve the quality of life. And Mr. Avila's comment is a perfect testament of the value of public transit in serving a community.
Hear, hear. Ms. Annie Williams. Ms. Williams. Ms. Bridget Alexander McDaniel. Hi there.
You have 3
3
minutes.
Let me make a comment. I do think we, over time, are going to change our policy just a little bit, such that people that come repeatedly and talk about the same subject, we're probably going to limit to 2 minutes in the future. But today we'll give you 3 minutes, Ms.
Okay.
McDaniel.
Thank you, Ms. Padman.
My name is Bridget Alexander McDaniel. I'm black. I'm 5'3". My special agent that was assigned to myself, her name is Sarah. In October of 2014, I was told I was made a target. This is why I'm continually and I'm still homeless 9 years, presently and currently. There's a forgery going on with your maintenance department. She's a black female. She's 5'8". Her name is Felicia Washington. She changed her name to mine using my name and social security number working for you. I do not receive a paycheck from Metro. I currently and presently am working for Paysetters on Elysian and Collinsworth. This forgery started with that Paysetter office. It's still continuing. My grandmother's house has been available since 2004. Now, the bus driver that was taking care of his father, his name is Anthony Alexander. He's been deceased now for a year. His father was Lawrence Anthony Alexander Jr. He is the owner of the house on 8114 St. Louis Street, located off the Belford. Right now, I was trying to get the taxes waived, but his son was paying the taxes. So this is the house I'm trying to occupy. There's still another forgery going on with a Mexican immigrant using my light bill. You know, all this was going on with the churches, forging marriage certificates and death certificates with the medical examiner. This is still haven't been resolved yet. Now, I spoke at the city council meeting on Tuesday. You know, the city has handled their part. Now, I need you, Metro, to handle yours. Someone from your board must speak to me. I'm requesting and I'm asking that someone speak to me and resolve this.
Thank you, Ms. McDaniel. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
I'll be waiting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas Shelton. Mr. Shelton. Ms. Dorothy Rucker. Ms. Rucker. Mr. Andre Porter. Mr. Porter. Mr. Dante Fierce. Did I get that right or wrong? Mr. Fierce or First? Mr. David Tidmore. There he is. Hello.
Morning. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Tidmore.
I got more than 3 minutes. I got 3 issues to speak about, and I'm going to say what I need to say. I'll be as brief as possible, and we'll go from there.
Well,
Okay.
we're gonna hold you to 3 minutes. So
Okay, you can hold me, but then Tom, you need to get some people together with me after the meeting then. Okay?
Mr. Tidmore, I'll personally meet with you after the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, Metro Building. I brought bathrooms up a while back. Nothing's been done. Had an incident down here Monday before last. Okay, there was a hollering match. One of your office employees came out to see what was going on. And it was because I went over and jiggled the handle to see if it was occupied or not. And the guy comes out hollering that I'm beating on the door. And I proved him wrong. What you need to do is get men and women signs for both restrooms. And then get a lock that says occupied or vacant. Problem solved down there. But when I came out of the bathroom, there were 5 guys waiting, so you need more restroom space than just that. You've got a restroom out here on the 2nd floor. The only thing they need to do is come up, give them an ID. They'll give them a pass to the bathroom. They use it. They come back. They get their ID. They leave. Problem solved. Okay. Shades. I see y'all have a lot of shades in here. But when you're sitting out there in the room before the meeting, you got the sun pickling and roasting and everything else. So we need some kind of light diffuser to keep the area cooler. Number 3, seating for the board meetings don't have enough. And I've brought this up before, but it's been on deaf ears. You need more seating out there for your Metro meeting to accommodate the people that need to sit down. Okay, next thing, 68 line. I am sick and tired of the service on the 68 line on the weekend. They are not finishing the route. They're finishing it 2 stops before the official end and not taking the people to the stops they need to go to. Now, I'm tired of that. It's happened to me another time, so that's twice it's happened to me. And the thing about this last instance that really ticks me off is the guy comes and the Valero store after Chimney Rock on the line, he gets off and goes in. I figure he's taking a bathroom break. No problem. Comes back with a cup in his hand, puts it in his deal or whatever, drives on. Then when he gets
Mr. Tidmore, you have 30 seconds.
I'm gonna, okay, Tom, we're gonna talk, okay? And I wanna make sure everybody knows about it, okay, Tom?
Mr. Tidmore, I'll make sure I get a report back to the board on all the issues you and I discussed.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Mr. Tidmore.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tidmore. Mr. Mark Smith. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what do you say? I hope everybody's okay today.
Very good. I haven't heard your poetry in quite a while, so.
Yeah, well, because among other things, last month you all voted on a Manchester Lawndale circulator. You changed the day, and no one called to say, hey, come by our way on Wednesday. So somehow something went astray. And, you know, they claim they didn't have the number for my phone, which is a bunch of bull. I don't know how many times I've left on Andrew Skabowski's or Tom Lambert's or board members, well, not board members specifically, but the board, you know, they ask you what subject, they ask you for your number. They didn't happen to last month, I think, but they don't call me to let me know, and then you all wind up voting on the Mondale Manchester, and I wind up finding out that's supposedly going to go as far, seemingly, as Mondale and Wayside, and you're going to ignore everybody who is west of Wayside, going as far as like Lawndale and Telephone, and you could extend that bus and have it go west on Lawndale to Henninger, turn left on Henninger, go to Telephone Road, come back up Telephone to Lawndale, and come back down Lawndale. I was told that if you extended it west of Wayside, you'd have to have 2 vehicles instead of 1, and that's what they have on the Lincoln City circulator. Why can't they have it on the Lawndale Manchester circulator?
Mr. Smith, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, it makes sense, but then again, making sense is something that Metro sometimes doesn't seem to do, because it makes sense that if you used to have a bus 40 minutes apart and now it's an hour apart, no matter what time of day or night, you're not getting more service and you're not getting better service, but Metro tells you you are. It doesn't make sense to have an uptown project that's going to take right away from current traffic and add to gridlock. But
Mr. Smith, your time has concluded.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you, Mark. Thank
Metro-
you very much. We're gonna hold everybody to their time, but we sure appreciate
Yeah, but
it.
also,
Okay, Mark
I
Hope.
want to
No,
say real
Mark,
quickly,
no.
I come here month after month, but I usually have different issues, different months, and I
I
can't
know.
always cover everything in 3 minutes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think you covered a lot, but nice to see you. Mark Hogue. Hey, Mark.
How y'all doing?
How are you?
I'm in pain.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I took like 4 falls,
Oof,
so.
I'm very sorry.
But Yeah, at the end of the route down here for the 32 and the 82, they really need a restroom because, one, they can't leave early if they need to go, and there's no place to go there unless they stop here, and then they're late over there. And another thing is, I don't know if y'all can do anything about the signal lights going north and south on by Westheimer, because like this morning I almost got hit by someone running a red light, and that didn't help me. I almost lost my balance and fell because of the car. But like a lot of times the light won't change because I'm out early in the morning, and I like this to start at 9 instead of 10 because I'm out before some of y'all are still sleeping.
I'm sure I am still sleeping.
Yeah, but mainly like the restrooms, like maybe somewhere by where the old post office is or something, like y'all can get like a fenced in area for them, because a lot of times I'll be with my buddy JJ, and I, after having 32 ounces of coffee, I might need to go too.
Well, if I got up as early as you, I'd have to have 32 ounces of coffee and more than that. So,
Yeah,
well, thank you so much, Mark.
But that's mainly the thing, because like I say, it's hard for me to wait until there's a place to go.
Thank you, Mark.
I gotta go.
Bye, Mark. I hope you feel better.
And I'll just, as a comment, I do think that the layover location at the post office on the 82 and the 32 is something we should be looking at as a longer range capital project to find a better suited layover location, because we have a lot of buses there now. We have a lot of operators there now. Generally, it's in the right part of downtown, but I think having the physical facilities to support that seems something worthwhile.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Diego Garjales. Hello, Mr. Garjales.
My name is Diego Miguel Grajales, and I live in the 2nd Ward, East End of Houston. I bring one issue to this board, and it is racial statistics. The city of Houston has 44% Latinos, and it has 23% African Americans. Harris County has 45% Latinos, 21% African Americans. The Metropolitan Transit Authority has 3,600 plus employees. The percentage of Latinos working at the Metropolitan Transit Authority is 18%. The percentage of African Americans working at the Metropolitan Transit Authority is 62%. Has anyone at this illustrious board ever asked the administration for these racial breakdown numbers? I don't think so.
We've had extensive discussions at this board about those very numbers.
Okay. Are my numbers correct?
I don't know if those exact numbers are correct, but I know we've discussed them.
No one is looking at the Latino population in this city reflective of Metropolitan Transit Authority. No one. And I have asked many elected officials in the East End area, where do they stand on this? Has Ana Hernandez, State Representative 143, ever come up to this board? Has Sylvia Garcia, Senate District 6, ever come up to this board and asked this question? Has Carol Alvarado, District 143, ever come up and asked this board about this question? Has Carol Cisneros, new city council member, ever come up to this board and asked them these questions? No one. But an old man has to come up to this board and ask, why is the numbers this so lopsided? That should be reflective of the city population in Houston. So how does 21% of the population have 62% of the jobs at Metropolitan Transit Authority? How? 18% Latinos work for Metropolitan Transit Authority. That's
Well-
disgraceful. I'm sorry, but Latino lives do matter. Maybe not to this board, but they do matter. And I think somebody should be asking this question, not a lonely old man coming up to this board, but the elected Latino officials, silent. And so has this board been silent.
We, under the Open Meetings Act, this is not a posted item, so we can't discuss it. But let me just say that, in conclusion, I appreciate your coming down, and we are cognizant of those issues. And
I don't
wish
think you are. Look at the lopsided numbers.
If you start shouting, we're not going to engage. What I will tell you, though, is that you're very mistaken in virtually everything you said. So maybe we can have an offline discussion about it, and we'll talk about some of the assertions you made, virtually all of which are inaccurate. Okay, thank you so
Really, I'd like
much.
to see, if you have the numbers, please give the
Okay,
public the numbers.
Ms. Samantha Villagomez, please.
Good morning, board members. I'd like to take this opportunity this morning to discuss this matter that's also being discussed concerning the Hispanics here in the East End of Houston, right here, in particularly the corner of Telephone Road and the beginning of Lawndale. If we could please have service beginning from the Telephone Road and Lawndale, going all the way down Lawndale to at least past the cemetery, most importantly. And that's another grievance that we had. If I hadn't called here a week ago, ma'am, that I voiced my unhappiness and my disappointment that we didn't have a bus line that even passed towards in front of the Forest Park Cemetery. But since then, supposedly, it's been corrected, but I still would like to have bus line service, and there is plenty of other Hispanics in that area that would take the bus line beginning from Telephone Road and Lawndale from the very beginning and taking it all the way into the Manchester neighborhood. That's a long route, and we don't have any access to it. And it's a long, punishing walk from the corner of Telephone Road and 5605 Dismuke and Lawndale. That's a long, punishing walk for me to get to my office over there that I go to see. And it's just that there should be more bus services on that in particular line, ma'am. That's a long road, and
Thank
it's a long,
you.
punishing road.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.
Brief comment on that. I think that.
Hold on one
Oh.
second, Christoph. Can we comment on things like that?
It's not a posted item, so we can't get into a discussion of it.
We can't get into a discussion because it's not a posted item. Does that mean he can
He can make a brief
respond?
comment.
I was just going to make the comment that the Lawndale route we adopted was as a pilot, so I think there's still the opportunity to make changes there if we can figure out a worthwhile change.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for coming
And
down.
our at the transit center, we have very poor restroom service there at the Eastwood Transit Center. If y'all could. see
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. Mr. Gopi Sivasubramanian, and I probably didn't say that right. Would you pronounce your name for me?
Yeah, it is broken into three, Siva Subramanian. So you
Thank
did
you.
good, yeah. Thank you. Good morning.
Reasonably close, but not quite. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, board members, metro staffers, and fellow commuters. My name is Gopi Siva Subramanian from Katy, Texas. I have a simple request for all the park and ride buses coming from Kingsland Park and Ride or any other park and ride coming to downtown, that if instead of all the buses looping around Smith and Louisiana, if they can loop around 1 in 3 buses or 1 in 4 buses can loop around Fannin and San Jacinto. So that way, like the people who are working in the southeast part of the downtown don't have to walk 8 or 10 blocks to get a bus to go to their respective subdivisions. So this is, in my eyes, I have had some discussions with metro staffers on this. In my eyes, it is just a question of like a 35-mile bus ride. It's just entering the downtown in Smith and Louisiana, Instead of that, you switch it to Fannin and San Jacinto. There's a simple switch for me for 1 in 4 buses. And it gives a lot of access to a lot of commuters, and it gives a flexibility, and I think increased access means increased commuter pool. So it's a simple request. I don't know what are the logistics behind it, what are the operational issues behind it. That's where it stands. If I want, I can drop these papers with my request number.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, and I'm willing to discuss with one of your staffers on that if they have any better ideas.
Yes,
I'm
could
okay to
we,
listen.
after the meeting, would it be appropriate for Kurt to discuss it? Thank you. Can you stick around, or is it inconvenient? Should
No,
we
I'd
follow
like
up
to
with
leave
you?
now. If they can call me on my phone.
Sure.
The Metro folks have all my information here.
Thank you. Thank you
ma'am.
very much for coming down. All right, Mr. Dominic Mazok.
I know I have 180 seconds. I have 2 sheets that are handed out. The first one is, I know you're coming up with this Office of Innovation, and that will be discussed later. But I just have this little cartoon that I came up with Wile E. Coyote. I mean, innovation is a good thing, but please beta test it and field test it before you send something out in the field. Terrence, you're an airplane pilot. I think you understand where I'm coming from with that. You know, you want something that doesn't crash. Also, too, on second thing with the new info post and the flags that are coming out, maybe try one route like the 82 Westheimer first, see how it goes, and then send it out system-wide. The second thing was, I have had to ride the 56 airline Montrose route recently. There's a problem with the route in the sense of where it goes, and this is the map of the route on the north end. It goes through an area where there's high wheelchair use, particularly south of Parker Road to the Northline Transit Center. If you notice on the map here, I listed several places where people live and where people need to go shopping in that area. I've been on the bus several times. Once it passes Independence Hall, that the building that one of the first independent living facilities in the nation, the wheelchair lifts, and there's 2 wheelchair slots on each bus by FTA regulation and ADA regulations. They're full. There are people waiting down the line to get on this bus that are in a wheelchair. I was on a train last week with Dr. Frieden, and I asked him, I said, why not community circulator centered at Independence Heights? That's where I got the idea of Independence Heights and the 3 before the 56. That's your numbering system. I don't have all the numbers, but I'm just throwing this out. Maybe have a community connector or a Metrolift bus is sitting there that would take people within a reasonable range, say from Foodtown to the north to the airline farmers market to the south. And then there's a couple of other independent living places along the airline corridor where maybe it's free or half cost versus Metrolift to keep a bus there. That might be cheaper for that special community to get around that small area and to get rail at Northline Transit Center than to keep just using Metrolift. Use
Mr.
the Metrolift.
Mazak, you have 30 seconds.
Use Metrolift for long haul, but use this as a local area. I talked to Art about this like last year. It's been on the radar screen, but maybe now with Dr. Freeman on the board, maybe that's the time to look at this to lower the cost for Metrolift.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you as always. Appreciate it, Dom.
Thank you.
If Wile E. Coyote had had modern technology, he would not have gone over the cliff.
Well, Madam Chairman, there is that old saying about technology, and I think Terrence would appreciate this. There's old pilots and there's bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots.
I don't know. He's old and bold. Ooh, okay. Ms. Elizabeth Webb. Ms. Webb. Okay. Ms. Jane Rava. Hi, Ms. Rava. Uh-oh. No? Did I? Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to go back to Ms. Renteria, but let's start with Ms. Rava now. Thank you. I did skip somebody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank God for this opportunity to come to address the board on my situation. I am a senior citizen, and I live in a senior citizen community. But my problem, my situation is that I'm not considered living in the prime zone or whatever, the extended zone. And I have...
For MetroLift?
For MetroLift,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And I live on a fixed income, which is under $500 a month. But at the rate, excuse me, at the rate they have, and now I have to pay $250 to leave my house, $250 to come back. And if I make any trips in between, I have to use tickets, because they was telling me that if I buy a monthly pass, I'm not able to use my monthly pass at all, leaving my house or even returning. And on a given day, I use a whole book of tickets, because it costs 8 tickets for me to go back and forth for my church twice. And that's in a day, because I go to morning service and evening services. And if I go to the grocery store, I can only go to the grocery store on with like 6 tickets round trip, because I have to go to the store that I can spend most of my money, that I can get my money's worth for my groceries. And I have to go to another store to buy more Metro tickets. And the thing is that like I said, I spend over $150 a month out of my $500 of my income for my Metro ride. And I was wondering, and I said, asking if, because there's no public bus within 5 miles of where I live. And for me, I'm visually impaired, and for me to try to navigate on a regular Metro bus, which is not in my area, when I get in the zone where I can use the bus, I'm frightened, because I cannot cross the busy streets by myself, because I'm visually impaired. And right now, that is my issue. I don't have the money for the ride, but I feel imprisonment because I don't have tickets to
Ms.
leave
Webb,
my
I'm sorry,
house.
but your time is up.
Okay.
Let's, I'm
Thank
so
you.
sorry. I mean, this is a real problem. I don't know what we can do about it if you're outside the MetroLift service area, but would it be appropriate for someone to visit with Ms. Webb after the meeting and just see if there's anything we can do? Can you stay around until, we're going to go into executive session, which means the staff will be available shortly. And maybe, Andy, would you be the one, or?
Yeah, Art Jackson.
Art. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. We'll just see if there's something we can do. Being outside the service area is a problem, but we'll really appreciate your coming down, and
Okay.
thank you.
Well, thank you for listening.
Mr. Trinidad Renteria, is he here? Hello. Yes.
Okay, I have just some brief questions about the North Shepherd parking ride, where you reload your Q card with a debit or credit card. That machine needs to be replaced, because you can't even see nothing at all.
Okay, thank you.
And also the lightning problems on some transit centers when it's past 8 o'clock or something like that. There's some transit centers and parking rides that the lights are on before that time, but on the Acres Homes Transit Center, the lights are not even on after 8:30 p.m. You know, and sometimes it's real dark.
Mhm.
There's some people waiting on the bus. And also, I have another question about. It's almost gonna be 10 years of the 402 Bel Air Quick Line that was introduced in the bus service, but when those 10 years come for the Quick Line that it was barely introduced, there haven't been other Quick Line bus routes in the metro area. Because Westheimer needs a Quick Line besides Bel Air. It needs to be done like not in the 10 years more, during the next year or something like that. Because we only have one Quick Line, and then they're trying to do BRT on the uptown. Westheimer needs that first in order, to relieve passengers that are really upset that, that y'all change the bus every 6 to 8 minutes, but sometimes they don't come that way. If you made the Westheimer Quick Line, it's going to be more relief, and it's going to be more reliable service on that bus route. And my question to you on the 88 Sagemont, when will that route be extended to the Baybrook Mall, since now the 246 don't go because of the construction? And now that I don't know if Beamer Road is already finished expanding all the way to Bay Area or not, but the 88 needs to be heading that way too, because Alameda Mall is almost a completely dead mall. And
Mr. Renteria, you have 30 seconds.
And Baybrook has more jobs to offer than Alameda Mall. And finally, on the 2003 Metro referendum that was introduced back then, on some routes, what's going to be rescued from that portion?
Okay, so that's a question, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let us, who's the appropriate person to visit with Mr. Renteria?
I think I'm going to have Andy, and I'm going to have Terrence and Roberto all meet with him, because it really touches about 3 different areas.
Can you stick around a few minutes?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much
right,
for coming down. We appreciate it. Mr. Courtney Stewart.
That would be me.
All right, hello.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Once again, I was here last year, November 4th, where I met Mr. Lambert and also Christoph. Did I say that right? All right, correct. First of all, I'd like to start off with some recognition for Metro overall for receiving the award, the 2015 APTA Award. Also, I'd like to recognize Metro for your Metro Q mobile ticketing app, your Next Bus texting app, and your Metro Trip Planner, and your text alerts. They've really served us well.
Thanks so much.
And just to go a little bit further, with the text alerts, when we had that flooding on April 18th, I believe, that really helped to be aware that the bus wasn't running, and that's a great thing, because Metro is concerned for our safety. Turn around, don't drown, all right? Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Here we go. I've been taking the bus for 28 years now, since 1988 to the present, since I've moved here. And the 163, Fondren West Airport, served our community well. It was really sad to see it being removed totally, okay? It was highly convenient because commuters like myself could take just one bus to get to downtown Houston versus 2 or 3 buses now with a new network. It took a lot less time without having to board several buses. In addition, it serviced our communities later at night, which made it quite dependable for the working class of people. In addition, the removal of the 163 Fondren West Airport, the removal of the 163 Fondren West Airport bus commuted or turned on West Airport Boulevard, which is a heavily populated community, okay? It is a direct concern now for commuters like myself, who sometimes work late at night, to get off the new 63 bus and walk it all the way down on West Airport Boulevard. In the likely event that we miss the last 63 bus at night, sometimes after transferring from another bus, we would have to find other means of transportation to get home. The 163 service door area as late as 1 a.m., and it was convenient and efficient. Okay, the new number 7 and the new 63 does not properly replace the 163 Fort Lewis Airport.
Mr. Stewart, you have about 30 seconds.
Correct. What I can suggest is for you guys to extend the bus routes for the 49 and also the number 7. I do have a transcript here which I can leave with you guys so you can deep dive and get
Great.
involved.
Oh,
Okay?
that's wonderful. Thank
All right,
you
thank you.
very, very much, Mr. Stewart. Appreciate your suggestions. Mr. Mike McMahon. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I want to, well, first off say that I'm very pleased with the Reimagining project. Staff and consultants did a great job. I'm assuming with your new administration that you're going to be looking at ways to improve on Reimagining, and I'm going to be speaking and advocating for my suggestions there.
Terrific.
The first thing we need to do is to add speed to the system. I don't know if many of you know, but if you have to go across town inside the Beltway, if you work and live inside the Beltway and you have to go make a cross-town trip of 8 to 12 miles, that's an hour and a half to 2 hour longer trip. We're not going to get as many new riders if they have to, if they're looking for, you can ride to Beaumont in that time that it takes to get
Oh my goodness.
from Sharpstown to Hobby, is a long trip. So both speed and frequency are important. We address frequency with an excellent frequent network that we have now. But in 2013, at a stakeholders meeting where the original draft of the new bus routes was introduced, I asked, what about putting buses on the freeway? What about an express bus network? Jarrett Walker, who's one of the consultants, said the mandate from the board is that we can't spend any more money on Reimagining, so we can't do frequent and fast. Now that we're through almost into a year of Reimagining, I'm hoping that you will take a look at a express bus network to add speed, because you
Mr.
can
McMahon,
ride
you have about 30 seconds.
Thank you. You can ride from Katy or Spring to downtown Houston, about 25 miles in 45 minutes or less. It takes an hour and a half to 2 hours to get on a cross-town trip if you're
Mr. McMahon, your time has concluded.
Thank you.
Yes, right. Well, we understand your points and very much appreciate your coming down. As with any innovation, there are tweaks that will need to be made and changes, and it's always been a 5-year plan. So thank you, and we'll for sure look at that.
Thank you.
Okay, Lalo Guajardo. Mr. Guajardo, hello. Sorry, we had a mix-up on our list. You probably should have been first.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, good morning.
Good morning.
Excuse me. I am Lalo Guajardo from Manchester Civic Club. Our Manchester community is way on the east side. And I come not to complain, but to give praise this time.
Thank you.
Our planning committee came before this board a few months ago complaining because you removed bus service from our community, bus route number 38, and caused a lot of hardship to our citizens especially the kids who used it to go to school, and some went to work and back and to the grocery store and back. But since then, this Metro Board has been busy, and you came and met with our Civic Club, and you conducted a 3-day workshop with our planning committee and others, and we're grateful. Thanks be to Tom Lambert, Christine Connor, and every member of the personnel in Metro who participated in this effort to bring bus service back to our community. We are happy with the route. Thank God we were able to agree, and we're content with the schedule of every hour bus arrivals and 7 days a week. And I have 2 questions before I sit down. When will you start up? What's the date for startup? And will you be restoring the covered bus stops on Manchester?
Madam Chair, the first response is, Mr. Guajardo, July the 3rd is when we're starting the service. I know we're installing 28 bus stops now, the 2 shelter locations. Roberto, can you help me with that?
Yes, I don't have it. We'll get the exact timeline, but the plan is to put the shelters back in place.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Guajardo and the community, too. This was a real collaborative effort. Quite frankly, the community came back with an enhanced plan based upon our dialogue, and I think the plan they came up with was probably a better plan, so we want to thank them for their participation in this process as well.
We surely do. Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. I know that the community was instrumental in coming up with the most efficient and effective way to restore that service. So we surely appreciate it, Mr. Guajardo, and I hope you'll go back to your community folks and tell them how much we appreciate you all. So thank you. Did anyone who wanted to speak and is on the list come in subsequent to the start of the meeting that we've missed? All right. Let's go then to the Metro President and CEO Business Report. Chief Lambert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, if I can have the President and CEO report come forward, please, it would be helpful. I want to take this opportunity to really recognize the creativity of staff and, again, our efforts to collaborate with all of our local partners to improve the customer experience at Metro. The Greater Houston Convention and Visitors Bureau has been doing a certified tourist ambassador training program for quite some time. The staff at Metro, particularly led by Ramona Creighton from our Public Affairs Group, recognized the value that we could receive by participating in that certified training program. There are over 10 million people a year that come to conventions in the city of Houston. The opportunity we're looking forward is how do we get them to experience the network that we built to get them to their destinations while they're in Houston, so they have a great experience while in the city of Houston. So we've had 29 of our colleagues participate in that certified training program, both from the Public Affairs Department, from our Operations Department, and from the Operations Training staff to make sure we take the lessons learned from how you improve the customer experience and using our services and embody that throughout the agency, so you'll see us do more of that. I want to thank again Ramona Creighton from our Public Affairs team. She really identified the training and all the staff that participate in this program, and we'll communicate more about that in the future. We also recognize the opportunity to get people excited about transportation, to give us an opportunity to really engage the foundation of what transportation is about in the community and really how it's the lifeblood of a community and how we engage those folks that are coming into career opportunities to experience transportation, to look at Metro as a future job opportunity, and really give us the value of getting their input in very productive projects they get while they serve as an intern here at Metro during the summer. We've just launched our summer intern program. It's an 8-week program in June and July, administered by the Human Resources Department, the Organizational Development Team. We have 25 undergraduate and graduate students that are participating in the program this summer. They're going for all areas of the organization. We made sure they follow the same process we would follow anybody coming through the employee process at Metro, making sure they get meaningful projects, that they get value from what they're getting from us as we get value from what we're getting from them as well, and making sure they understand the behind the scenes of the complexity of serving a community the size that we serve and all the value we bring to this community. So we're excited for the interns that are working with us this summer. I think they're all in the audience. I'm not going to name them individually. Everybody stand, please. So let me welcome them to the Metro family. So again, welcome. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. You're coming to a dynamic organization that really improves the quality of life in our community every day, and we look forward to your input of how we can do things better. So welcome. We look forward to working with you this summer. So thank you.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Well, thank you, Chief. I wanted to express my thanks to everyone who worked so hard to get our board retreat together. We had a wonderful board retreat. Of course, we call it a retreat, but it was a public meeting, and we talked about our vision and our mission and where we want to see the agency go, and I thought it was everybody brought terrific ideas, and I just so appreciate everybody's participation. I particularly want to give a shout out to the staff who helped get together the graphics and worked so hard, and I think we had a very good presentation. Sydney, Scardino, Kelly, and Gabe were just top flight, working under great pressure from the chair to get it done, and I'm just so very grateful. And to all of the staff for helping make the retreat great. Second, we are going to, by the way, we're going to synthesize those comments. The staff is going to, and then we're going to get back together and hopefully develop a mission statement and synthesize the objectives we have going forward for our terms on the board. So thank you. And I have a very positive note. Thank goodness the Harrisburg at Grade Street reopened on June 11th. So big relief for a very difficult project. Thank you to everyone who's worked on it so far and made that happen. Particular shout outs. Tom, who should we give a particular shout out?
Bruce Krantz, Glenn Peters, Linda Trevino, Christine, everybody that really works on that. So it's been a lot of team effort. And McCarthy for them stepping up to the plate to make that happen.
Thank you all so very much. And that concludes my report. Okay, I'm giving you just one point of information.
I want to know because there's some businesses that, I wound up finding out with the way they rerouted the 50 that they I couldn't.
What's the question?
Well, my question is, are they going to be putting the 50 back on Harrisburg so people can get to businesses they cannot currently get to?
Do we know the answer to that yet?
Kurt will answer.
We will be rerouting the 50 bus back onto Harrisburg once the Green Line opens and goes all the way to Magnolia Park Transit Centers.
Okay, we're going to go to working committee meeting reports.
So
Finance and Mark, you got to have a seat. I'm sorry.
And when the Green Line opens, that's when we'll have service back. That's
Got to
what
have a
you're
seat.
saying.
Got to
Okay.
have a seat. Finance and Audit, Ms. Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Basically, the financial situation is what we've expected, and based upon the budget workshop, one of the budget workshops that we've had, today we're actually recommending the parameters in the past few years. Well, first, we've always had a 15% operation or 15% reserve required by our debt service covenants. We added a few years ago another requirement of a 10% on top of that for operational kind of emergencies, and that's sort of good business practice. You normally want to have 2 to 3 months of operating cash. And the Finance Committee is recommending, as part of the change to what we've historically done with the parameters, is adding another $10 million above and beyond the 10 and 15% cash reserve requirement. And you'll see that today as part of the consent agenda. Additionally, based upon the budget workshop and knowing what's going on with just the economy and not seeing anything turning around anytime soon, historically we rely upon Gilmer, who does a cash flow projection in terms of sales tax. And in the past, we've done a haircut in terms of our internal projections of 1% less than his projection in the upcoming budget year. But the Finance Committee recommended and directed staff to revise the cash flows in light of the economy so that instead of just a 1 year 1% haircut, it would be a 1%, then the following year a 1% haircut going to 0.75%, 0.5%, and 0.25%. And that's to, be as conservative as we can in terms of our cash flow projections so that we can be good stewards of the money. And also, we want to make sure that we continue to maintain and ensure the financial stability of the organization. Of course, if the economy turns around sooner, and money, the sales tax revenues go up, then we can always adjust that. Then I want to thank Debbie. She's moved out of her position as CFO to a new position, and she's kind of helped us navigate through some challenging times the last few years. And in her replacement is Art Smiley, who everyone knows has been doing our auditor stuff. And we're excited for Art to come on. So in terms of other consent agenda items, we're taking Debbie off the bank accounts. We're putting Art on the bank accounts today, and then we're also appointing Art as a committee member of the non-union pension plan board. So that's it.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. There is a budget workshop where this coming Monday, and I think we moved it from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Right, Rosa? Yeah, I think we're going to have it at 10 o'clock. And we'll be discussing the CIP. We'll be looking at the new revised cash flows, and we'll be talking about the CIP priorities.
Thank you so very much. Mayor Siegel is doing an amazing job making sure that our financial situation remains good, and I think it is good given the problems in the economy. We certainly have challenges, but under her leadership and Art's and Debbie's, I know that we're meeting them. So thank you very much. The Administration Committee report, Lisa Castaneda.
Good morning. Most items were routine. We have one item on the consent agenda. We had committee briefings regarding the summer intern program. 9 departments hosting 27 interns. Interns will be introduced today, I believe. Okay, sorry I missed that. And Leadership Development Program, Class 5 had 28 graduates. On the briefing items, Government Affairs, obviously Chairman Patman and Troy Taylor traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with the Harris County Area Congressional Delegation and relevant committee staff. We requested congressional support for several grant applications Metro recently submitted, including a discretionary bus grant. And finally, we requested support for continued efforts to revise an FTA policy that excluded high occupancy toll lane miles from the State of Good Repair program funds.
Great. Is that
concludes
your report?
Yes.
Thank you so very much, Lisa. And let me say that we did have a wonderful trip to Washington where we met with our elected officials and some of their staffers. Tom Jason and I and Troy Taylor was initiated into the Washington trip process, and really very, very productive. One of the folks we met with was Congressman Pete Olson, who was very gracious to us and receptive, and I believe Mac Flores, who works with Congressman Olson, is here today. Would you stand, Mac, if you're still here today? Is Mac still here? No, but he came earlier. So we certainly appreciate the time of all of our elected officials. I think at this juncture, we're going to consider the consent agenda, and then we're going to go into executive session and come back for the reports after executive session. I know that, but... Well, right. Ms. Diaz was reminding me I'm skipping right now 2 of the committee reports. Well, that's true. That's true. Jim, I know you have to leave at noon. Let's skip Christoph's and go to your public safety, customer service, and operations report.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. We have several things on the consent agenda. One I will call special attention to. For years, Metro has had a working arrangement with the Texas Transportation Institute at A&M to do various kinds of studies for us, and it's time to renew that. And it's for a total not to exceed amount across a 4-year contract period. And there's no commitment that we would do any certain number of projects, but it gives us the ability to continue to work with TTI. And also at Dr. Frieden's request, we're going to also begin exploring other educational or institutions or foundations that we could enter into similar agreements with. Also, I'll call attention to 2 of the briefings that the committee received. One was on optimization in the call center. Our call center does a very remarkable job. They basically turn inquiries around or pick them up within 2 minutes, and that's rather exceptional performance both for the public and the private sectors. We also had a briefing on revisions to the drug and alcohol policy. Metro has a policy that we just don't tolerate people operating buses that are impaired with alcohol, and the new policy clarifies several points and also provides 2 options for the pre-employment testing.
Thank you so very much. Let's turn at this point to the consent agenda, and everybody take a look at that. And then if I could have a motion. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. At this point, pursuant to the Texas Government Code sections 551.071, .072, .074, and .076, the Board of Directors will consult with Metro's attorneys regarding pending or potential litigation, legal matters in which the attorney's duties are governed by the State Bar of Texas Code of Conduct, deliberations pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, to deliberate the purchase, lease, exchange, or value of real property, personnel matters, security matters and devices, legal issues regarding contract negotiations that may result in potential litigation. So we'll go into executive session.